Welcome to New Again Houses TV, where we dig deep into the honest stories of real estate entrepreneurs and the actual projects they are building.
Franklin,
Ah.
so glad you're here, man.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
I am looking forward to jumping into this latest project that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I want to hear how you're doing in this new career. So, you're living the dream that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
You are full-time real estate investor, made the switch like just about 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are full-time in it with a bunch of projects going. How is it?
Well, great. The short answer is great. We're having an absolute blast doing what we're doing. But it typical entrepreneurial life, right? So, it's a lot of fun. We work really, really hard. There's days that are really, really stressful, but the rewards are pretty high. We get a lot of gratification from seeing the projects complete, seeing new families move into the houses and are excited about them. So it's been a really good move for us.
What most surprised you about the life of a full-time real estate investor?
Just how many different things I would be doing during the day. On a given day, it's everything from doing lead generation or following up on people that have reached out to us, evaluating houses, working with the property review team, or all the way out to just reviewing projects with the teams, going out on site, seeing how things are going, to me picking up the drywall knife and putting on some drywall if needed. So I've been a little bit surprised what we would be doing all of the above, but again, it's been fun.
No day's the same, right?
No,
like every
no.
day is a different.
That's the best part.
different set of problems
boring.
to solve. But you didn't have a boring life before. Like you were in cybersecurity, and so that had to have been pretty different challenges every day, or no?
Well, yeah, definitely. Well, it's the unsolvable problem, right? It was like every time you build a better mousetrap, they build a smarter mouse, and cybersecurity was challenging, but it was a fun career. We really did have a lot of fun. I was very blessed and fortunate to work with some of the brightest people in that industry throughout my career. But ask me if I miss it.
Yeah, I'm assuming you don't.
I don't.
No, nobody ever misses their W-2.
No.
So you've got 5 projects under construction.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 2 that are completed, contract to sell. You're buying. It's not one thing or the other. It's not just construction.
Mm-hmm.
You're always acquiring properties as well. And one of the things that I've been impressed with you is you've really leaned into the systems and processes on the lead generation side. Mm-hmm. And so most of your properties you're getting off market, and you have a lot of different lines in the water.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that was part of what drew us to New Again in the first place, was we felt like you guys had a really good system and a proven system for doing lead generation. And we knew that coming in from talking to people in the industry that the key to success was acquisitions. If you don't buy properties, you can't renovate them to make money. And so we knew we had to get that part right. And so we just followed in the footsteps of people that had done it before, and then figured out, okay, what works in our market, exactly the way that it comes, versus what do we need to tweak just a little bit in order to make it just right for our market. And so we've done a little bit of all the above, and then we've also we found a great real estate agent. She's brought us a couple of deals that were on market, and that worked out great for us, and that's the one that we just finished.
Yeah, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking all agents are created the same, and that's not the case. A good agent can be a real asset, right?
Yeah, we went through 4 agents, I think, before we got to Talia, and she's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but you're getting leads in a lot of different places. How much of your time is spent on acquisitions versus on managing the projects?
Honestly, personal time, I'm spending about 25% of my time on acquisitions. We're leaning heavily on a couple of things. Like we're doing the postcards, we send those out. We have a few inbound leads that come in that we certainly follow up with. We also get leads from Homelight and New Western. But where a lot of our most successful leads are coming from is the work we're doing with Corey. So Corey has a team of virtual assistants that are doing a lot of this lead generation for us. We're providing lists, and they're calling and texting and getting through the initial qualification process. And then my 20 to 25% of the time is really evaluating those leads as they come in, doing the comp analysis, going out walking properties, and then negotiating to a price.
Yeah. What do you enjoy most about it?
Oh gosh. I really like all of it, to be honest. I probably my favorite thing of all of it has become design.
Yeah.
I have turned my wife would tell you that I'm like Joanna Gaines.
Did you expect that? Like, did you know that was
anyone who knew me did not expect that. But I have really gotten into it. I really enjoy it. Just trying to figure out how do you bring the most value out of a house, bring out the full character of it in a way that people will want to buy it.
Yeah. I think that's an I don't think people expect that, but what our real core business is unlocking value in a property that other people may not be able to see.
Yep.
And so the design element can be really important because you can add a lot of value if you have an eye for that.
Yeah. But like Annie and Sam have told us, though, like the design is really important, but then it's really important to get that design to line up with your budget and make sure that you're managing to numbers. And so again, that it just adds another layer to the challenge. And it makes it fun.
Yeah. Yeah. What else are you enjoying about the new life?
Well, I'm enjoying getting to work with my wife, for one.
Yeah.
So after having spent 25 years in cybersecurity, where I traveled 75 to 90% of the time, I was never at home except for a couple of days a week. Now we're getting to spend all kinds of time together, and we find out we actually like each other and enjoy getting to spend the time together. So that's been a really good thing. It was just getting to work together. I'm really enjoying learning more about each of the trades as we go and learning more about the construction process. I've got a fantastic general contractor. Robbie has been an absolute godsend, and he's a really good teacher. And, so when I show up asking silly questions, he doesn't treat them like they're silly. And he's like, he'll just explain it. And he's like, this is how we do it and why we do it this way. If we're following up with inspections from other trades, Robbie's really good about explaining to me why something is or isn't right. So that's been fun too, just learning the technical details.
Because you didn't have any real construction expertise going into this, right?
I don't think I could cut a board square.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What skills do you think you did bring that have made you so successful in this in year one?
Well, so part of my cybersecurity career was as a product manager. And so as a product manager, you're basically trying to figure out what needs to be delivered to the end user so that they'll buy it. And you're managing budgets, you're managing engineering. So there's a lot of parallels between the development of cybersecurity software and building a house. It's different tools, it's different techniques, it's different things, but the processes are very, very similar. And so having that background where I'm just really comfortable with being able to figure out, okay, here are the requirements, here's the path that we're going to go down in order to get from start to finish, driving kind of the results along the way, making sure things stay on track, making adjustments as necessary if we learn something midstream, figuring out how to adjust a plan and still stay on target. Those skills have been invaluable.
Those sound like leadership skills to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much of your previous, like this is about being able to articulate a vision for a project.
Yeah.
And then really getting all of your partners to buy into it.
Yeah.
Even when you hit adversity, keeping people moving forward and working through that.
Yeah.
Similar, are those skills that you learned along the way? And
oh yeah, for sure. I had a number of different leadership roles throughout my career. I think what I learned through all of it, though, is there's always an answer. And I think my wife would agree that one of the things she's seen is like I'm far less panicked by anything that goes sideways at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay, it happened. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
How are we going to work through this problem? And I've had some good coaching along the way too. Like Eric has been great to just he'll look at something and he'll go, okay, no, you're heading down a rabbit hole. You want to back up from that. Look at this.
Yeah.
So having those coaches behind me that I do lean on, because I certainly don't have this all figured out.
Yeah.
Has been really helpful.
Yeah, I think people underestimate that leadership role, and they think what I did in my previous career doesn't translate to this. It's different though, right? Like the principles, a lot of the principles are the same. Like you're leading a white collar culture in cybersecurity, and the construction, a construction job site is very different than that. So the people are different, and the product is different, but the principles, a lot of the principles are the same. And so learning, one of the things that I enjoyed about this transition when I went full time is like taking what I knew and trying to figure out how to make it apply in this new world is a new challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. One example of that's like in the software world, one of the hard lessons I had to learn, because I had a ton of cybersecurity knowledge, but when I started as a product manager trying to develop software, I had to stop thinking that I knew how to build that software. Like I knew what it needed to do. And so I had to learn to say, okay, I'm going to explain the what, and the engineer, I'm going to ask the engineers now, how do we do that?
Yeah.
And we'll work together through the options for the how and pick a path. So we do the same thing in construction. I come in with Crystal and we'll lay out, here's what we want for this house. And we'll walk through with Robbie, we'll walk through with our other trades. And we'll always ask, okay, how do you recommend we approach this? What are the things you think we need to do? What order do we need to go in? And allow the experts to be the experts. That's why we pay them. And that is nearly identical across those two cultures, even though it's white collar to blue collar.
But having control of that ultimate vision is important.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like you, in your mind, in order to lead, you have to know where you're going, and you have to really believe in where you're going.
Yep.
And I think in a lot of our previous lives, in your typical corporate environment, you don't necessarily have control over that ultimate vision.
No, there's always someone further up the chain that can decide for us that you're going to go a different direction. So yeah.
For me, that was one of the things that I most enjoyed about this life is that you do have control. You do have control over that ultimate vision.
And I don't have to sit through 72 Zoom meetings to make it happen.
Well, there's less people involved, right? That's the other unique thing about it. Like the relationships are super important, but there's just less people than on a corporate team.
That's right.
A lot of it, you can get a lot more efficiency.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's talk about this project that you just finished. It's under contract. It's under contract to sell. I think this was your second construction project.
Yep.
And it was a significant project. Trial level?
It's a split level.
Okay.
Yep. So
yeah. And when you walked into this property for the first time, how long did it take you to understand the value that you could unlock in this?
I think we saw a good amount of it right away. I mean, when we first walked in, so walking through with the agent, and so she had been working on the house for 2 years trying to help the previous owners get it ready for a sale. So she had some insights that were really beneficial to us, but it was immediately obvious we needed to open up the main floor. It just felt cramped. It was dark.
You knew that from the first time you stepped in.
Oh yeah, instantly we saw it, and it was just like, yeah, this has to be opened up. The other things that we saw were we went upstairs, and we saw the bathroom set up. So it was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath when we started. And when we went upstairs to look at the half bath and the full bath, I saw something I had never seen before and never thought I would see. It was basically the half bath was configured in a Jack and Jill configuration with the master. It was terrible. It was just awful.
Because who wouldn't want to share their master bath with their kids and friends? Right?
Absolutely right. Yeah, every time. So that was definitely something that we knew we were going to have to deal with. And then I think downstairs, the just configuration of doors, like where they put doors, didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You would go down to the bottom of the stairs and you'd hit the landing, and there was a door on the left and a door on the right. There were 24-inch wide doors, so really narrow. The one on the left went into the full bathroom downstairs, and the one on the right went into the laundry room. Now, if you could imagine going down a set of stairs with a laundry basket and trying to open a 24-inch door and walking through it with a laundry basket, you're just like, yeah, it's not good. And then you look at the inside the laundry room, and that was eating up very useful real estate inside the laundry room. So we decided we were going to have to reconfigure those doors somehow and make that work. So
you walk into this house, and every house is a unique story. Like every single one of them is a story that is told. And then it's like this is the problem. And then it's like, all right, how can I solve this problem in front of me? And how can I add the most value in the solution? Yeah. So it sounds like this particular house was floor plan was a big problem. Now, some floor plan problems are solvable, and some of them aren't solvable, right? So you realized early on that this is the problem with this house is a solvable problem, but that's design. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It was just a question of how we were going to solve, because we suspected that there were some load bearing walls involved. And so we knew that we were going to have to bring in a structural engineer to examine it and give us a solution. Like, we weren't going to figure this one out on our own. So that was the path that we chose to go down.
So the biggest problem in there is this bathroom issue, because the master bath, obviously, sellers, it's going to be important to a seller.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And it's a shared master, and it's both of them are configured quite small.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So walk me through how you solved this particular issue.
So we started with, we knew we needed to separate those two bathrooms, which meant we were going to have to turn that half bath into a full bath. The good news is we had a wall that we felt like we could move, and we basically would steal 3 feet from the master bedroom in order to make room for the tub. Now, that was the thesis. So then we had to work through the math, because we had to look at where was the master bedroom door located. Well, if we move the wall 3 feet, the door's in the way. Can we slide that door over and not interrupt anything? And we frankly got lucky, because we were able to move that door to a position where it was directly across the hall from one of the other bedroom doors, and it would make it look like that's just how it was designed.
So the solution had to be adding square footage to those bathrooms. You weren't going to solve it in the existing footprint of them. No. So you moved a load bearing wall.
Took a load bearing wall out. Yep.
And so that gave you 3 feet on both the Jack and Jill in the hall and in the master?
Just in the Jack and Jill.
Okay.
So we stole 3 feet from the master bedroom, making the master bedroom a little bit smaller. You could still fit a queen size bed and a dresser in there. But not a lot more, but it works. Yeah. And then, so basically it's just the bathroom expansion was all we got. And then we ended up in the master, it was an old cast iron tub and a very lovely lime green 1960s era color. It was. I called Annie. I was like, "Is there any hope for this?" She's like, "No, don't even think about it." So we ended up taking that out and putting in just a stand-up shower. So that gave the illusion of making the master a little bit bigger, because we put in a shower with a glass door and a marble look wall fixture, and that made it look bigger.
So you give up the 3 feet in the master bathroom for the Jack and Jill, and then you give up the tub for a shower.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks great, man. Like the before and afters of this are pretty impressive.
Yeah, it turned out really good. We're super happy with how that turned out.
Yeah, it's one thing to add value with paint and design and your basic flooring and that stuff, but then when you're able to add value by moving a wall's few feet and the design of it, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the kitchen was not as complicated, but just as important, because the first impression in that house, one of the first impressions when you walk in, you see the kitchen. And before, it was dark.
Yeah. Well, before you'd walk in the front door and it was just a foyer hallway, there was an opening to go into the living room. You couldn't even see the kitchen when you first walked in. And it was dark. It was confined. And so, again, took out a load-bearing wall that was running down the center line of that space. So we have two 24-foot long LVLs now in place in that ceiling. And then we decided to do a couple of things. Because we were able to open that up, we decided we would give the kitchen more storage space and more workspace by adding a 4-foot by 8-foot island. And that was a pretty early on decision that we were going to put a big island in this kitchen. And then we kind of just worked from there. One of the other things we knew we wanted to do early on, because it was 8-foot ceilings and they kind of felt a little low, but we wanted the room to feel bright. We decided to put in about, I think it was 9 of those halo can lights in the ceiling that are all flush mount, modern looking, and it gives the room a ton of light.
So did you add any? You didn't open up any exterior walls. You solved the dark problem with lighting.
Yep.
And taking out walls.
Yeah, new windows and light and opening up the walls inside. Yeah.
And it made it was the finished product that you envisioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually, I made the comment to our general contractor. I was like, I knew this was going to look great. You actually made it look better than I ever thought it would have. He did an amazing job just with the detail and how he finished the trim. He did an amazing job throughout that area to make it look brand new.
Tell me about the dynamic with the contractor. Like you've had a career in working with white collar professionals in cybersecurity, very different demographic than contractors, right? So tell me how what you've learned from that partnership.
I think honestly the success that Robbie and I have had together is there's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
I bring things to the table from a project management and an organization perspective, and I play to my strengths on that side. And then Robbie is an excellent carpenter. He has a background in trim carpentry, so he's just amazing with his finish work especially. And I allow him to play to his strengths. And in the design process, there's a lot of discussion about, okay, here's what we want. What's the best way to go about this? What are the things you've done on other projects, Robbie, that you've liked that you think would add value here? And I'll take all that input. And I'll take input from him. I'll take input from Talia. I occasionally even take input from my wife. She doesn't believe me very often. She doesn't think I do that very often, but I do. We just take that all into consideration, right? And then it just really comes down to then I treat my contractors the way I would want to be treated.
Yeah.
And I found that just by treating the guys with respect, setting clear expectations, here's what we need, communicating, what's going on, where are we with deadlines, and so on. We've really built an ecosystem of guys and gals that actually really like working together. I mean, we found a team that really, really comes together well. So,
and the team is small,
mm-hmm.
right? And that so every person is really important on a small team. Like on a big team, people are important too, but in a different way on a construction site where you're literally building something with a few other people.
Yeah.
How rewarding is it when you finish a project?
Oh, it feels really good. Especially like with this last project. So we had a broker's open house where our agent hosted the other realtors in the area to come in, and she was as she shared the feedback that she was given from the other realtors. People were like, "Wow, this doesn't look like the same house I saw before. This is absolutely amazing. It's staged perfectly." You know, we try not to let our heads swell up too much when we hear that because we're still learning.
Yeah.
But man, it feels good to know that people recognize the quality of the product that we've put out, and that it feels good.
It's just so much more tangible than most other work that we do in the modern world.
Yeah.
You know, like cybersecurity. Like, do you ever really win?
Well, so many days in cybersecurity, you would come home and you would be like, what did I even do today? Did I even move the needle at all?
Yeah.
And it would feel like that sometimes for weeks or months on end. Like it's like we're just grinding and it doesn't feel like we're getting anywhere. This is like every day you can see what did or did not get done. And that's really good. I like that short feedback loop on things. So
yeah. And even when you don't get it right, having a tangible result. All right, I didn't do well on this one. Like I didn't get the feedback. And now it makes you better. You know, like but having that has always been something that I enjoyed about this particular business.
Yeah.
So what's next? You've got five active construction projects going. Is that where you want to be? You want to
We actually our big, hairy, audacious goal for 2025 is to purchase 20 properties.
Yeah.
So we want to put our foot on the gas in a meaningful way, and what that means is our general contractor has been splitting time between us and then some other jobs that he picks up with some builders to do trim outs on houses. If we buy 20 houses, he's like, I'll be fully dedicated to what you guys are doing. He's like, I won't need to take these other jobs, which will be great.
Yeah.
I think so. That's our goal is to really go hard. We do have 5 that we're working on right now. One is almost done. The carpet guys are actually installing carpet at Fox Drive today. And when we get back into town, we'll have some cleaning to do to get the house ready and just a couple of little punch list items that our electrician needs to take care of. And that'll be done.
When you look at doing 20 next year, what part of that specifically is the most daunting to you?
Well, part of it, but the most daunting part, honestly, is we're going to have to put more capital into escrow in order to have funds available to buy that many.
Yep.
So that's going to be a conversation we've got to have about where we're going to align on that. I think there's still some areas where we need to either tweak or explore to improve our market reach. And so I don't know if I don't know what that's going to be just yet. My next stop is I need to have a conversation with Amber and Maria about where do we go next with our SEO. Are there other things we can do? And then we may need to look at other forms of advertising.
Yeah, wider and deeper, probably in each one of those options.
Yeah.
When you think about doing 20, do you anticipate flipping all of those 20, or do you want to hold some as rentals?
I think it's going to be all the above. I think some will be flips, like we've been doing. Those are fun. Getting to do the full renovations are really fun. I think some will be. I hope we can pick up a few functional flips because we've had some really good success this year with just picking up a house that just needs a good cleaning and putting it on the market and getting it sold quickly and turning a good profit on them. So I would like to certainly do. I told Corey, like, if we could just do one of those a week, that would be fantastic. We'll do some wholesale deals as well. There's a couple actually that we're working on right now that we're trying to get under contract to approach as a wholesale. So
I think one of the things you've done well is it's a variety of acquisition channels, but then also you've embraced a variety of disposition channels. And a lot of people get really narrow in each. Like they'll go all in on one acquisition, one lead channel, and one disposition channel, and really leaving a lot of opportunity on the table when they do that.
Yeah. Well, I was guilty of that very early on. Like I was always thinking, okay, we got to do full flips. And I was on a call with John and Chad, and John's like, what are your other options? How else could you dispose of this and make a profit if you can't flip it? And that it was just like a light bulb moment. And then again, Corey's been really helpful with that too, because we'll find things where the numbers just don't work quite right for a full flip. And Corey's been good about saying, hey, I think we could do a wholesale deal on this, and we'll pursue them that way. So,
yeah, it just opens it's such a big world with so many opportunities and so many leads, and it's like you open your mind to these different strategies. But the most, like, you do have to be able to add value with the construction.
Oh yeah,
like if you don't have that engine behind you and you've got that ecosystem, like you really don't have many options, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's honestly been the thing that's put us on the map. The very first flip that we did with Kincaid, where we took that 1935 Craftsman that was an eyesore and turned it into a beautiful home, sold it in one day. That put us on the map with the other realtors in the area. When we put Colonial on the market and they came and saw it, we actually got a lot of attention from brokers at that point, just saying, hey, okay, how can we help you? How can we be a part of this? So, and we're very loyal to Talia. We are grateful for all the work she's done. So we're not going anywhere in case Talia's listening to this. But that construction engine was the key to that, right? People seeing that, okay, these guys are legit. They're not just going in and throwing some paint on walls. They're really transforming homes. Yeah, that's been a huge part of our. But
success. that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people, I think, try to become real estate entrepreneurs, try to become investors, and skip that hard part. And I think they can do it behind a computer screen with paper, with paper contracts. And that the adding the value with the construction is a pretty core part of this business.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not adding value with construction, then you're really stuck competing against the new Westerns of the world and people that have a whole lot more firepower than you do.
The people who can't do it. Well, wow, it is really an impressive year one to purchase all these properties and to do them well. Like you're after photos, like you're getting it right. You're getting validation from agents, buyers, neighbors. That's a pretty cool thing to accomplish in year one. So congratulations on this project and the business as a whole.
Thank you. Looking forward to more to come.
Yeah.